काफी बड़ा परिवार है मेरा, यही संसार है मेरा। हर दिन मेरी कोशिश है इसे हरा भरा रखने की, कुछ कोशिश घर को मजबूत बनाने की, कुछ कोशिश घर को जीता जागता बनाने की, कुछ कोशिश बड़ों की सेवा की, कुछ कोशिश छोटों को बड़ा बनाने की, कुछ कोशिश नई दिशाएं दिखाने की, कुछ कोशिश उत्साह जगाने की। देश नाम है मेरे संसार का, इंडिया नाम है मेरे परिवार का, टाटा कोशिश जिम्मेदारी निभाने की।
Friends, put your hands together to welcome on stage Quizmaster Pickbrain.
A big hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Pickbrain, here today at the national finale of Tata Crucible for Campuses 2022. Well, ladies and gentlemen, after literally traversing the length and breadth of this country with the 24 clusters that we did, picking one champion from each corner of the country, as one would call it, we then got into the 4 zonals, and here we are today with the 6 brightest minds in our country at this point in time when it comes to business quizzing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, business quizzing itself has taken a completely new dimension over the last 2 years, especially at Tata Crucible. After the Tatas 2 years ago decided during the pandemic that the quiz will not pause but will actually go digital and create, or rather break, new frontiers. In the process, we're truly humbled, if I should use that right word, to have had 7.2 million people watching Tata Crucible on the digital platform. You heard us right, 7.2 million people. That is something no one imagined. Sometimes situations like a pandemic gives a lot of room for innovation, and one of those has actually been the way Tata Crucible has adapted. Seamlessly, from the corners and comforts of their own institutions and homes, India has taken part and battled for 2 years at a Tata Crucible. Here today, we have 6 outstanding candidates with us who are going to fight for the top honors. All of them are prolific quizzers, champions in their own right, and have come a long way forward this year. From the initial rounds, which were all digitally powered by TCS Ion, they qualified into the cluster rounds, the cluster wildcards, crossed Rashmi Furtado's questions to reach me, and here they are today at the national final to confront both of us and their contenders to the national title. But ladies and gentlemen, it is my duty perhaps at this stage to start by acknowledging the phenomenal support that this quiz has received now close to 2 decades from the Tatas on ground and online. So much so that a simple quiz has turned out to become a knowledge movement across this nation. On that note, time for us to see our 6 finalists and start playing the national final. With us here today, qualifying as our first contender, and give him the right to be the first contender here today, the defending champion of Tata Crucible for Campuses from 2021. He's back in the fray. He's been prolific. Someone's got to play out of the skin to stop someone like him. From SJM Som IIT Bombay, Preetham is our first contender. Welcome, Preetham. Challenging him and has been one strong contender this year. Never giving up an opportunity. Never giving up on the willingness to win. From IIT Kanpur, Pradyumna. Welcome to you. Prolific, high-scoring, quick on the buzzer. Well, the Jaipur lads are known to do that when they are in good form. It's an institute that has won the national title in the past. Representing LNM IIT from Jaipur, Aditya, our third contender. Welcome to you. Consistent, calm, on his day, he can be really tough to dislodge. Multiple time winner from Madras, he's prolific and consistent. From IIT Madras, a huge challenger in the national final, Pranav, yet again at this level. Welcome to you, Pranav. Well, if there has been one person who's shown determination can get the better of anything else, that is Kaivalya. Just not willing to give up at any stage. His sheer grit has got him into the nation's top 6. Representing IIM Indore, welcome to you, Kaivalya. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the East is always a tough terrain. It got even more complicated this time with all the IIMs in that region doing very well. And we've got so many of them now in that region. You add to that, you get an XLRI, you get an IIM Shillong, you get IIM Bodh Gaya. It can be difficult for someone to dislodge them. But one young lawyer in the making from the National Law University of Guwahati did just that to be in the top 6. Welcome, Gaurav, to this league. Congratulations to all the 6 of them. The stage is set. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a battle of grit, guts and glory with a little bit of shine. While we get to the shine part later, 75 is the value. 5 seconds is the time. 1 attempt on the buzzer is what you have. You know all of this only too well because you've been watching this entire season with us as much as we've been delighted bringing it to you. Contestants request you to hold the buzzers up as it's time for us to get started with the first frontier of our game here today. It's time for you to find your grit. Here it is. If they get it right, they get a 75. If they get it wrong, they lose 75. So they know that only too well. And all of you have find your grit on your screen. Quick check. All right. If you're ready, questions appearing on your screen, starting with the first one. Now, this is Professor Clinton Biddell. He was a researcher and he came out with a situation that presented a labor problem at a shoe company. He came out with a one-page document that was published in 1921 on how this kind of a problem that regularly occurred at a shoe company was affecting production while the plant was still struggling. Preetham has gone for it. What in the world am I talking about as a first?
So I'll say these are business case studies.
The concept of business case studies. Can you go a little further?
Right. So this is I think it was at Harvard or somewhere where they developed the case method where they look at all the problems and try and evaluate solutions based on existing real world problems. So the case method to solve case studies.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, all of these are sharp young minds who perhaps would aspire one day to be at a Harvard University. The story of the first ever case study that got created at a Harvard Business School. Preetham Upadhyay, the defending champion, will start on a positive note. He puts his foot forward, scores the first runs in the big final. As we go to the next one, on your screens now. Called the horseless age. What first are we talking about? Called the horseless age.
Is it regarding horsepower unit of power.
Gaurav's gone for it on the buzzer. Yes, Gaurav?
Yeah, I'd say that this is horsepower unit of.
The creation of horsepower and so on. He'll take a minus 75. Is Gaurav on that one? And on that minus 75, the answer that I was looking for, this is late 1800s. The horseless age gave rise to experiments in the world on, believe it or not, electric vehicles. It's no modern phenomenon or future phenomenon. Electric vehicles have been around since the 1800s or the late 1800s, and this was one such experiment. But ladies and gentlemen, well, for us, of course, in India today, surging ahead and, of course, creating the real charge for the revolution of the electric vehicles in our country is Tata Motors with Nexon. I've said this before, I'm a personal driver of one of them, and it is an absolutely seamless and fabulous feeling to do that. Youngsters will, of course, want to be part of the EV world, not just for economic reasons, but in a way to contribute to the environment as well. So, 2 questions done, one of them getting onto a plus 75, one of them onto a negative. Gaurav in a bit of a hurry, not really waiting for me to get onto the question in a complete manner. Moving on to our next question, the third one on your screens now. Current affairs, overall answer will lead you to something in the world of sport. Current affairs to the world of sport. Buying something from someone, perhaps for reasons that the seller did not even think through. Preetham's giving it a shot. World affairs. Yes, Preetham.
I'll say this is Chelsea. So Chelsea is being bought from Roman Abramovich, right? He had to sell it because of the war.
Well, Russia got into a war situation, or got themselves into a war situation, and Roman Abramovich, the owner of Chelsea, had to sell Chelsea, and these are now the new owners, or the combination of the new owners. The whole transaction on your screen is Chelsea. Tough national final. The clues look very abstract, but that's the power of these young minds. They know how to put these together. Preetham really playing well. He's moved on to a quick 150 here today. The others will have to play quickly, otherwise he can run away with the contest sometimes. As we go to the next one, on your screens, here it is. This led to the creation of the symbol of the giving tree. Pradyumna, where would you see the giving tree as an identity?
I'm guessing this is National Book Trust.
He'll take a minus 75. Tough questions in the national final. This is the tree that you would find as part of Amazon Kindle symbol. Well, Pranav shaking his head. He said, I should have got that one. Good quality question coming in. The creation of the tree, or the origin of the tree, which essentially gives you the tree from Amazon's Kindle. Tough ones, 2 of them on minus 75. Preetham's on 150. As we go to the next one, very early days, of course, on your screen now. This is the statue of Ambika. You would find this statue in London because Ambika loved going to the London Zoo. Which great business tycoon of Indian origin had this statue installed in London? Pranav. Huge Indian.
I'm just guessing, since you mentioned Indian origin, I'm guessing with the Hinduja brothers. So
the Hinduja brothers. Well, the pressure of the national final is making people take half chances. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer, Lord Swaraj Paul. Ambika Paul, the young girl in that statue, died at an unfortunate age of just 4. But today, she is a statue in London, and Swaraj Paul had that installed. Tough questions from the world of business to the world that we live in. 3 of them starting on a negative note. Preetham on 150 will know the value of the rest being one behind. in terms of a negative. That's huge. On to the final question, early days first frontier. Here it is on your screen now. Henri Rosset's 1908 painting, a fight between a tiger and a buffalo. The painting became huge news not so long ago because it featured in someone's first ever brand campaign. They changed their name, they came out with a campaign, and the campaign featured this painting. Preetham Upadhyay again. Yeah, Preetham.
Since you said change of name, I'll say this is Facebook, which is now Meta.
Facebook became Meta. Meta came out with a campaign. The first campaign featured Henri Rosset's painting. Sometimes in life, nothing goes wrong. It seems like one of those days for Preetham. Defending champion, he's playing aggressive. It really is about attitude at this level. How do you come out when you are a defending champion? Well, you can certainly learn some lessons from Nadal on how to do that. Amazing how he did what he did. But ladies and gentlemen, very, very early days here today. You're watching the big final of Tata Crucible for 2022 with me, Pickbrain. On the other side of this break, we'll show you exactly how far Preetham has reached on the binge board. But for the moment, you need to permit me a very quick break. On the other side, the binge board and a special round from my young colleague, Rashmi Furtado. On the other side, stay with us.
You gotta move it to the max. You gotta move it in the soul. You gotta move it, move it, move it to the max.
The new Nexon EV Max moves you to the max.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, early days before we move further with this quiz. I've got a couple of audience questions for you. Let me start with the first one. You know what to do. Key into those chat boxes. If you're quick and correct, you stand to win a prize from the Tatas. Here's the first one. It's an American chemical engineer. His name was Victor Mills. He was working with Procter & Gamble when he revolutionized something for childcare with an invention. Till then, the product was, cleanable, reusable, etc. He created the first one, which was disposable. His conviction on the product was so high that he actually tested it on his own grandchildren. What is this product that I'm describing? Key in your answers and you could win a prize.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the national final of Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2022. This is me, Rashmi Furtado, and let's quickly take a look at the binge board before we move forward with the next round of this quiz. Early days, and if you can see the binge board there, it's only Preetham from SCM Som IIT Bombay who scored 225 points. Like I said, early days. Pradunma, Pranav and Gaurav need to work a little harder. Aditya and Kaivalya yet to score. But believe me, in a quiz like this, nil is not a bad place to be. They only have to move into the positives, while the others have to work a little harder. Well, I'm sure you all did not get carried away by the smiles when our finalists were welcomed into this national final. I can feel the nerves right here. We are not at the same venue, but I can still feel their nerves. All right, but now it's time for us to move into the next round of this quiz. This year, Tata Crucible has been celebrating 75 years of Indian independence. And what a great opportunity for us to celebrate the women achievers of our country. The next round is all about these women achievers. Let's move on to the second round, Share the Shine. Here we go. Well, all the rest of the contestants have to remember is that they also can employ the same strategies that Preetham has and score into or get more positive scores. Let's see what happens. Contestants, remember this round is dedicated to the women achievers of our country or of Indian origin. Keep that in mind. That is the context of this round. Let's move into the first question of this round. coming up on your screen. Here we go. Which brand in the cosmetics domain? Pranav, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Forest Essentials.
Forest Essentials. And what's her full name, if you can give me that? Her first name is right there on the screen for you.
Yeah.
All right, don't worry. You still get your 75 points. Forest Essentials is all I was looking for. Her name is Meera Kulkarni, and she's developed a cosmetic brand based completely on Ayurveda. Plus 75 to Prana from IIT Madras right there. Let's move on to the second question of this round coming up on your screen. Here we go. Identify this well-known lady. Aditya, go ahead. He's on the buzzer.
Indu Jain of the Times Group.
Indu Jain of the Times Group giving Aditya a plus 75. He's absolutely right. She was the chairperson of the Times Group, and she passed away in 2021 owing to COVID. If I'm not wrong, she was also the founder of the Fickies Ladies Organization that has been there for years now. Indu Jain giving Aditya the plus 75. Moving on to the last question of this round coming up on your screen. Here we go. Her name is Mani Meghalai, and she became the first woman MD and CEO. Pritam, go ahead. Pritam, you're on the buzzer. You can't take too long.
Hello, Union Bank.
Union Bank. I just said she's the first woman MD and CEO of Union Bank. Giving Pritam plus 75. He's absolutely right. She's the first woman MD CEO of Union Bank of India. Incidentally, the head office of Union Bank of India in Mumbai was inaugurated by none other than Mahatma Gandhi. I thought it was an apt question to put when we are celebrating 75 years of Indian independence at Tata Crucible. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we move into the next round, it's time for me to have a question for you. Let's binge on a question here today. This question is all for you. One of my personal favorites, they turned 25 last year. They are headquartered in the United States, and they originally launched themselves in association with BBC. They are now owned by Warner Brothers. Which TV channel am I talking about? So you know the drill. Whichever platform you're on, go ahead and key in your answers in the chat box. Let me quickly repeat that one for you. They turned 25 last year. They're headquartered in the United States. They originally launched themselves in association with BBC, and they are now owned by Warner Brothers. Identify this TV channel. So go ahead, try giving your answers for this question. I'm sure you have exciting prizes to win for this one as well. Ladies and gentlemen, while we dedicate an entire round in this national final or in this quiz for the women achievers of our country, as a woman myself, I see the next 75 years in our country being extremely good for the women in our country. And I see them being far more successful and achieving far more than what we have done in the last 75 years. With that wish, may I please request Pickbrain to come back on this platform and take this national final forward. Pickbrain, over to you.
अब डिस्काउंट किसे अच्छा नहीं लगता है जी? खाने के बाद एक एक्स्ट्रा पूरी। आहा, अरे दवाइयाँ बेटा जी, अब भी करता हूँ बाबूजी। नहीं बचत बेटा जी, और भरोसेमंद भी बाबूजी। It's 1 mg. हो गया जी। हो गया जी? नहीं जी, आप खिलाओ जी।
Thank you, Rashmi. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fantastic to have a young colleague co-host this quiz with me. She's been remarkable, and that's also an indicator of how the next 75 years of Indian quizzing would be. We've got a lot of girls. For an odd reason, quizzing has been a male sport. There's no real logic to answer why, but today that is changing and changing dramatically. It's nice to see her being the only woman quiz host, but that's paved way to a lot of youngsters to get in as girls. It's sometimes, oxymoronic. They do better than us boys in exams, and then they don't come and take part in the quizzes. Well, they can't explain that, but for the moment, of course, this quiz seems to be a really nervous one, and Pritham seems to be getting off really well with his answers. He is on 300, if my mental math is right. We've got a couple of others who've scored as well, but we'll take a look at all of that after I'm done with the next frontier, which is for our contestants to rely on their guts. Here it is. 75 remains the value, 5 seconds the time as we start with the first one on your screen now. This is some initiative specially launched by Starbucks. Aditya has gone for it. What is this initiative from Starbucks?
Some Starbucks across the world employ only deaf and dumb people who have hearing disabilities and speaking disabilities. So there's a set of symbols on their aprons that the customers can use to convey their message.
Extraordinary answer. Very, very well played. Inclusivity is so important in the world as we move into a future. And I think the world is realizing these things better than it ever did in the past. And a truly wonderful answer. Starbucks taking the lead across the world in many places to actually bring in people who will also do sign language to communicate or use sign language to communicate. Aditya getting the 75, he got the drift of it absolutely right. As we go to the next one, hands on the buzzer, question on your screen now. This is a campaign that happened in Mumbai. Kaivalya has gone for it. Yes, Kaivalya.
So this is the beach cleanup of Juhu, I believe.
You got to give me a little more than that. Yes, these were beach cleanups, but the characters, Nicktoon, Motu, Patlu.
Yeah, so Motu Patlu are a cartoon series. So basis that probably to encourage children to clean up the beach. That's what I'll go with.
So you still need to give me a little more.
I'll go with maybe a SL group.
Okay, I'll still give it to you because my whole idea was what was this for? He's absolutely right, a cleaner world, a healthier world and all of that. The key, of course, was that the whole inspiration was drawn from the United Nations Environment Program, but it was environment in a larger sense. Health and wellness has become a very big agenda and a lot of players are coming in. Tata 1mg is a huge advocate of health and wellness. They are one of those who've supported us at Tata Crucible. Very large advocates of health and wellness, and I think, like we spoke in the previous one on inclusivity, health and wellness is also becoming a future aspect of greater consideration. Kaivalya getting a 75 on that, his first one. As we go to the next one on your screens now. This is a mythological character. Pradyumna has gone in a flash.
The buzzer was pressed before the question was asked. So
no, you buzzed right when the question was asked. So
yeah, let me try. Can't see the mythological. This is Euro note. I'll go with Apollo.
Well, a minus 75 to him. We left Euro there to make your answer not so difficult. This is the Greek mythological figure Europa. Rightfully, she appears on the Euro notes. And the continent, of course, Europe, is believed to have been named after her. So that's the mythological character that you would find on a Euro currency. He takes a minus on that, just buzzed. If it was a misbuzz, then unfortunate. It's like an unforced error. As we go to the next one on your screens now. This was a recent event involving about $300 million worth of bonds. This incident will remind you of a Portuguese origin name dating back to probably the 1540s from an Asian island. What are these bonds that you would associate to the State Bank of India, which listed it on the India International Exchange? Pranav is taking a shot at it, yes? I said an island from Asia.
Okay. I'm guessing to say these are masala bonds because India, not really sure.
Oh, he knew it's not necessarily a firm answer. Minus 75, Pranav. This comes from the bonds that were issued in the olden days, which involved Taiwan. And therefore, these bonds are called the Formosa bonds. So, Formosa bonds are essentially those which is issued in Taiwan, but denominated in a currency other than the new Taiwanese dollar. So, Formosa, of course, is the former name of Taiwan. I mean, that's something for the benefit of the audience. But anyway, moving on to the next question. He takes a negative. Here's the next one on your screens now. This is an island off the coast of Colombia. The island is waiting to become a blue verified one by the Oceanic Global as part of a rigorous blue standard program. Which brand's campaign is this island, which is essentially inviting people to have fun after really struggling for 2 years because of their name? Pritam.
This is Corona beer.
Corona beer is inviting people to an island and saying, come, it's time to have a party. They took an image beating during COVID-19 because COVID-19 was referred to in many ways as synonymous to the brand name that they carry. And the coronavirus did not really help the brand. But today, bouncing back with innovation is Corona beer. Well answered by the young lad from Mumbai or IIT Bombay. He is moving from strength to strength. Aditya is behind him. We'll take a look at the scores at the end of the next couple of questions. Here is the next one on your screen now. This was a campaign called The Power of 49. It became a blockbuster not just in India, but many other foreign countries which borrowed from this idea and went on with this campaign or similar campaigns. Which brand in India would you associate to the Kala Tika campaign? A very powerful one called My Vote, My Kala Tika. Pritam again.
Just going on the color, I'll say Tata Tea.
Going on the?
On the color, the background, there's a green outline and all of that. That's
Something
standard symbolism.
Anything more than Tata Tea?
Tata Consumer Products, which owns now Tata Tea. So Tata Tea Gold. Okay, Tata Tea.
So you know anything about the campaign?
Yeah, so it's about, basically women are considered, in our society, women are unfortunately considered the lesser half. So 49%, right? But the 49% still has weightage. So asking women to vote.
Clever, clever. The Power of 49. The campaign, of course, was part of the Jago Ray campaign. Oh, if the green in the background was clue enough for you, the brand head of Tata Consumer Products will be super happy. They've really been able to communicate a lot to youngsters in this country, but that is super beautiful as a crack. The Power of 49 that he figured out was really the better part of his answer, but he's really able to string together some fantastic answers. Others will have to play out of their skin to challenge him. The next couple of questions are about lateral thinking. You're familiar with that with my style of quizzing for years now. As we go to the first among them on your screen now. A historically important photograph of the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, at a particular location. Hot as L, or hot as L, was the word that was used to describe this. A very important person there on your screen is often not remembered for the creation of this great brand that celebrates 100 years of its own existence. Iconic brand in the world, Queen Elizabeth at a factory visit, an important one in her career, was captured beautifully in the sitcom as well as an important episode which changed the way she would speak. Which great brand are we talking about, owned by a group which is more than a 150? Pranav is taking a shot at it. Yes, Pranav?
Going with Jaguar Land Rover.
Oh, well answered. He weaved the story well enough. Jaguar Land Rover, hot as hell, is what they really coined it as. Historically, if you actually go back, it was a speech at the Jaguar factory that led to a lot of criticism, and the Queen changed a lot of her way of presenting herself. In fact, it was the Jaguar incident that led to the Queen opening herself up and the entire, what one would say, the monarchy, to more common people and to become more accessible. So these are important checkered flag moments in world history with a business angle to it. Jaguar, of course, now part of the Tata portfolio. Well played on that one. He moves back to where he started. He'll need 2 good hits as Pranav. Aditya needs 2 good hits. Pritham should stop hitting is what the others will stay. But we go on to the next one. Overall answers, what matters on your screen now. One man emerges. Pradunma has gone for this one. Yes, Pradunma.
I saw Rupa. I was guessing Satyajit Ray.
And would the other 2 give you any clues?
Kai is like Sukumar Ray, so Satyajit Ray is the son, and the right guy looks like probably one of the characters from Feluda. I don't know.
Trying to string an answer together, he's not too far from it. Absolutely right. Pradunma will get a 75 that he badly wants. Everyone wants to get back into the game, and everyone is doing that remarkably well. Remember, it's a national final. The pressure is huge. Satyajit Ray is absolutely right. In fact, Satyajit Ray created that logo for Rupa Publishing. As we go to the next one, onto your screen now. A very common connection to all of these. A huge brand innovated. Pradunma again.
I'm guessing this is Wrigley's. As far as I know, they had some ration of chewing gum, and I don't know anything about the rest. I just guessed with the ration.
You're saying these are Wrigley's chewing gums?
Because they had some ration. As far as I remember, in World War II, 2 of the rations were cigarettes and chewing gum. So I went with one.
He took a half chance there from IIT Kanpur, a minus 75 to him. Well, Wrigley's is definitely part of the World War stories. He got the drift right. He got the brand wrong. The answer is Hershey's. Chocolate supplement has been a very important ingredient of the wars. The tropical wars would actually lead you to Vietnam. The desert wars would lead you to Iraq. And of course, the World War II itself led to rations with the sort of brown color packaging. In fact, the ingredient supplements with these also changed from time to time. Some of them had increased egg supplements. Some of them had other elements going into it. So all of these are very thoughtful creations for the armed forces. Of course, largely from the United States and the others who allied with them. Tough questions here today. It is the national final of Tata Crucible. We've got one final frontier to go, and on the other side of this very quick break, you're going to see the final burst of this quiz and whether someone's going to be able to challenge Pritham. But how far forward is Pritham on the binge board? I'll show you in just a minute when we are back. Back in a moment. You stay with us.
एक सजेशन दीजिए।
क्या जी?
अपने टाटा प्ले के साथ बिंज ऐप ले लो जी।
क्यों जी?
आपके फेवरेट ओटीटी एप्स एक ऐप पे जी, मतलब नो अलग अलग पेमेंट, सिर्फ 1 सब्सक्रिप्शन जी, और 12 एप्स के सारे कंटेंट इजी सर्च पे, मतलब नो ढूंढना, ओनली देखना जी।
मतलब टाइम ही टाइम जी।
थोड़ा हमारे लिए भी निकाल लेना जी।
अब टाटा प्ले के साथ लीजिए बिंज ऐप।
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this quiz seems to be going in one direction, and that direction seems to be that of our defending champion. Is someone really going to come back in the final frontier? We'll see all of that, but I've got a couple more audience questions for you. Well, here's the next one. It's perhaps appropriate at the Tata Crucible to ask something like this. The whole world steps aside for the man who knows where he is going. The whole world steps aside for the man who knows where he is going. Which brand's ad campaign is this? There are two words which follow what I said, which I have not mentioned, which would have made the answer very easy. Key in your answers as we go to the final question for you in the audience. A term was coined by a person named William Goud. This was sometime in 1968-69. It basically was a term that tried to bring together a synergy between technology, services, public policies, and farmer enthusiasm at that time. What did this collective lead to as a term of reference coined by William Goud? Key in your answer, you could win a prize while you enjoy watching Tata Crucible. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're with me, Pickbrain, here today watching a fabulous national finale of Tata Crucible for Campuses 2022 unfold in front of you. Let's take a look at the binge board coming up here. Let's see where Pritham is. Oh, he's on 450. He's moving from strength to strength. Kaivalya is on 75. Aditya is on 150. They are the ones who can put up a fight here. Remember, it's a winner takes it all national final, and it's the defending champion who is on course to defending his title. One round left. Well, probably three of them have a fair chance to try and stop him. As we go to the final frontier of our game here today, it's time to go for glory. Here it is. On the final frontier, ladies and gentlemen, 6 questions remaining here today at the big final. It is time for us at Tata Crucible for one last time in the campus edition to celebrate 75 years of Indian independence. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The brands, the people, the pioneers, the products, the campaigns, all of it that shaped the business, industry and the economic side of India. In our own inimitable way, through our questions, we salute and pay a tribute to that side of India that has laid the foundations, and a strong one indeed, for the next 75 and 150 years for our entire enterprise to grow. The 6 questions from here will all be related to India and business from India. 75 the value, 5 seconds the time. Pritham will watch every question carefully because he knows he's not 6 questions away. He's about 3 questions away from yet another national crown. On the final frontier, nothing will appear on your screen. I read out the questions. You decide when to stop me. The moment you press the buzzer, I stop reading the question. If you're ready with the first one, hands on the buzzer. This brand has been around since 1893. Established as a patient medicine from Mumbai by a renowned journalist and a freedom fighter, his name was Nageshwar Rao Pantulu. The headquarters later shifted to Chennai or Madras.
Yeah.
Pranav's gone for it.
Yeah, this is Amritanjan.
Well, from his own backyard, he shouldn't be getting that wrong. So he's got that absolutely right. The story of Amritanjan will give Pranav a 75. The battle lines are beginning to get drawn here as we go to the next one. Let's see who gets this. A 20-year-old Brijesh Agarwal and his then 27-year-old brother Dinesh launched this revolution in India in the 90s. Gaurav has gone for it. Yes, Gaurav?
I'd say India Mart.
Extremely well played. Shaping modern India on the internet side of the business, India Mart is absolutely right. 75 to Gaurav. Third one, hands on the buzzer, careful. Shiv Ratan Agarwal is the grandson of Ganga Bishan Bhujiawala. Aditya is fast, but let's see what he's made of it.
So Gangabhishan Agarwal is the founder of Haldirams.
Your answer is Haldiram?
Yes.
Minus 75. In a hurry. Oh, look at the maturity of India's quizzing. Aditya gets it wrong and Preetham has a high five for himself. And that's an important one. Well, he knows that the fist pump is because it can be impossible from here for anyone to catch up with him. Allowing a quizmaster to earn his living is important. If you had allowed me to read a little more, you would have known what I was getting to. Well, he started a small shop in Bikaner. Over the years, his descendants spread out. He decided to branch out and create his own new brand, which is not Haldiram, but Bikaji. Named after Raja Bika. Which brand are we talking about? Well, it probably was like a minefield that a quizmaster would set, tempting you to go for the obvious, which would be Haldiram, but you would think and grant me better in a national final. 3 questions remaining. Some of them would like to symbolically finish second, so I will move ahead. Here's the next one. This famous tagline, and many taglines have really represented India, was a result of an insightful brief by a marketing agency duo of Arun and Menon, the then communication agency on the brand. The whole idea was to create something synonymous with freshness and juiciness. Someone's gone for it. Gaurav it is. Yes, Gaurav.
Yeah, it's utterly butterly delicious.
Oh, he went the Amul route. The answer is mango fruity, fresh and juicy. Well, went on to become such a powerful campaign. And these are campaigns which influenced brand growth. And that has been a fabulous part of India in the last 75 years is its advertising. Penultimate question, hands on the buzzer. K.L. Verma started this appliance entity in 1982 with a mere 1 lakh and a bank loan to support him. Preetham has gone for it.
It's a Sunflame.
Nothing going wrong for Preetham. I think he crosses 500 at a national final. Absolutely sublime. Final question. We've got 3 of them, I think, on 75. Aditya is on 75. Pranav is on 75. Kaivalya on 75. So if one of them get it right, they're going to finish second. If all 3 stay there, we'll treat them as joint second. But that is nomenclature because you just have a champion who takes it all. The final question of the Campus Edition 2022 Tata Crucible. Long story, wait for me. Written between 1942 and 1945 at a fort prison, it was first published by Signet Press at Calcutta after our independence in 1946. The author's creation became the basis. Preetham, first on the buzzer. He wants one more 75. Yes, Preetham.
I'm hoping everyone's happy with second. Say Discovery of India.
The Discovery of India writer. Well, too silly to ask you that, but Pandit Nehru, at 75 years of Indian independence, our final question, a tribute to a great writer who ended up being our first Prime Minister. That's another way of looking at history, but a phenomenal writer. We pay our own tribute to Pandit Nehru and to the writers who really shaped writing in India. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a remarkable final. We'll take a look at the binge board on your screen now. Binging at a national final is a rare trait. Rarely would someone dominate a national final as a defending champion. Why do I make that statement? Well, you're a youngsters playing this game and many of you watching this, the millions now that watch it. I've always believed it is very difficult to play at a level like this when you are a defending champion. It's easy when you're just going there and trying to win because that pressure and that weight of expectation from you is not on your shoulder. But But Pritham came in as a champion. The calmness that he has shown right through is remarkable. And to win with 600 only underlines how well prepared he is while being a defending champion. I do not want to forcefully break that 75 cluster and put one of them compulsively as runner-up. All three of them finished second, Aditya, Pranav and Kaivalya. I will not deny them that right. All of them have been fabulous, from LNM, IIT Jaipur, IIT Madras and IIM Indore. Gaurav has been the giant killer this year, dislodging the IIMs of the East and getting into the national final. Congrats to him. While Pradyumna has played the way he plays. It pays off sometimes for him, it does not sometimes for him. But what I like about him is, irrespective of the result, he's always smiling. That's the attitude you need to carry. Enjoy the sport. How does the result matter beyond the point? But ladies and gentlemen, for a young audience like this, with a defending champion defending his cause, we have a fantastic guest. Someone who, with his permission, I would like to introduce a little differently from how corporate India knows him for the various positions that he's held. I've always seen him as a person who's got his eye on the next sunrise. He is someone who's been a startup enthusiast while having had a long career leading established entities. He is the man behind the group's incubation at the Tatas of all the new ventures like Tata Click. He's also on the board of new age companies like Inspira Health Solutions, Health Sciences, which have also been part of all the masks that we wore last year while we were hosting the quiz. He's had his startup support and his startup enthusiasm not restrict him to India, but he's actually been advising and mentoring people in the United States, at Boston and in many other places across the world. He would only be thoroughly delighted to see India being as sharp as one can see at a Tata Crucible. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure and privilege to have with us here today at the big stage of a national final, the Executive Director of Tata Industries, Mr. Jamwal. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and for being with us right through the quiz to see these youngsters display their array of knowledge. I'd like to first request you to share your views or your reaction before I ask you anything, sir.
Thank you, Quizmaster. That was fascinating, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. The questions were very, very interesting, I have to admit. If the clock was reversed, I don't think I could have got into this national final. So it was a fantastic array of questions, and the answers were very impressive. Very impressive.
So, one question to you. Like I said, I've always been fascinated looking at your profile and knowing your past. You've always believed in startup. You've always believed in new experiments and innovation. You've championed that. You've spoken about it at many places. These are youngsters who probably embrace innovation and entrepreneurship far more than people like us did in our younger days. What's your advice to them, sir?
My advice would be that, you know, what I see in the finalists and people who quiz is there's a tremendous curiosity. And I have always believed that what has driven me forward is curiosity. I have never hesitated to ask when I don't know something. I think we all start out when we're young with a lot of curiosity. Many of us, somewhere along the way, we lose that curiosity, that why this or why not this? And I think retaining that curiosity and trying to figure out why it works or why it should work or why it should not is a very, very essential part. And that's why I like quizzes, I like people, young minds, and I like startups and entrepreneurship, because you're solving for real challenges. Yes, you may be wanting to make a lot of money, and I hope entrepreneurs will always make a lot of money. That's part of the reward. But the curiosity and the desire to solve something real is what should motivate most people throughout their lives. Don't ever lose that curiosity. Don't ever lose that desire that I will solve this problem. I must confess that even 35 years after my engineering degree, I remain an engineer at heart. To me, the curiosity, the root cause, all those things are so essential. So keep it up, guys. Keep that curiosity alive. Keep asking questions. Don't accept something just because somebody says it is what it is, except, of course, when the quiz master says it is what it is, because otherwise your points won't come through. Thank you. God bless. And congratulations, Preetham. That was a stellar show. Well done.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jamwal. Truly honored to have you here with us. Those are profound words. In fact, it's been truly humbling to see all these very senior members take time out for Tata Crucible to find time to be with these youngsters. And their advice, if put together, can be lessons that life teaches you. It's a wealth of experience that comes through in their 1-minute reactions, but it is so profound and carries so much of depth. Well, I always asked a lot of questions. If I went back to school, my teachers would remember me as the child who asked a lot of doubts in class. Little did I know I would get paid for it and it'll become a profession one day for me. But it is that curiosity, like Sir said, that stayed alive, and today it's a profession that I pursue. Truly humbled to have had your presence and those valuable words, sir. Thank you so much. We'd like you to stay on for just a minute more before we let you go to do the honors for our national champion defending his title. The young lad played a remarkable final, and look at that. All superb finalists putting their hands together for him because they know he's really played a classic final here today. From SJM Som, IIT Bombay, it is one of those performances which I would like to believe would make Preetham proud. And these quizzers know sometimes even when they win whether it was a good performance or not. Today Preetham would certainly believe he really put his foot forward. They like to play it well. A clinical victory to a man with a lot of depth and an enormous spectrum of knowledge. Absolutely well played, Preetham. Classic victory for him. Not to take anything away from the rest of the 5 of them. They reached the pinnacle of this battle after great rounds that they had to play, and to be here itself is a huge achievement. Well done, Preetham. Congratulations. So, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to thank our chief guest here today, the Executive Director of Tata Industries, Mr. Jamwal, for not just being with us, but for those priceless words of wisdom and advice to our youngsters and to all of you watching this. But ladies and gentlemen, what a momentous journey this has been at Campus Quiz 2022. A season which has seen highs and even higher than the highs with some of the performances that we've seen. But one man standing tall with a great amount of clarity, confidence and calmness ends up being the champion yet again. Preetham Upadhyay from SJM Som, IIT Bombay. We at Team Tata Crucible would like to express our gratitude to all those who've supported this quiz, the audience, the crew, the people who work behind the scenes, the entire team at Tata Sons, which chooses always to never be mentioned, but they really work tirelessly to put this quiz together for all of you to enjoy. To the 7 million plus viewers, you are the ones who make it special. You are the ones who make it worthwhile for us to bring these wonderful youngsters in front of you and inspire you to also be here in the future. For the moment, ladies and gentlemen, from my young colleague Rashmi Furtado, from me, Pickbrain, from all of us here today at Team Tata Crucible, till we are back with you with the next edition of Tata Crucible, be it the corporate, be it on ground, we don't know. Those remain the unanswered questions at this edition of a Crucible. But till then, from all of us here, thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.